Hey, shalom, saints. Blessings and peace to all of the righteous. Just enjoying a little walk here on this 5 acres where I live. It's a beautiful morning out today. It's supposed to be around 70 degrees today, which I'm grateful for. It's definitely good enjoying winter without snow. So you guys can guess where I'm at. But the reason why I wanted to make this video is just kind of want to talk about some of the shenanigans that I've been seeing over there on Straightway. Those of you who follow my channel, you've probably been seeing the shorts that have been uploaded. Pretty comical. And I put quite a bit of humor in there just because a lot of the information is true, and you gotta season the truth sometimes with a little bit of comedy, just because of the fact that if you don't, it's almost sad enough to bring you to tears. Throughout these videos, it's funny. It's almost like a Christian mindset or something like that. I don't even know. But my channel doesn't even have 700 subscribers. And for somebody to get offended by one of my videos and start talking about lawsuits and all that kind of thing, to me, it's just pretty ridiculous. It's just like, you got nothing better to do than to waste your time and the saints' money suing people frivolously over stuff for what? Because you're getting exposed? Because the truth is finally coming out in a way that makes it easy for people to understand? I got a lot of positive feedback from the videos and stuff that I've been doing. I really appreciate everybody who's helped me in this journey since I've been out of Straightway. Kind of want to make an encouragement to anybody who's still a part of it, that there is a lot of life and help if you do decide to leave that place. I've been out for about 5 months now, and now I live on 5 acres, beautiful house that I'm living in. Work is going great. I have a vehicle, definitely not struggling at all. Family is very, very healthy. I got 2 boys. And so the blessings are just there. There's always going to be a good Samaritan that'll come along and help you. It's a little bit fearful when you first get out because there's a lot of unknowns that you have to overcome. But, there's a lot of people out there that are willing to help. And I don't know if I'm going to post this. I kind of wanted to just walk around and have a free conversation, But as I think about these lawsuits thing, I'm just like, these people will do anything to discredit people from actually bringing the truth to the situation. And they call all of us liars, but it says, don't receive an accusation against an elder except out of the mouth of 2 or 3 witnesses. And I'm wondering, how many more witnesses do you need? You got me, you got Elder Becker, you got Deacon Gorman, you got Elder Mitchell, you got Elder Chris, you got Elder Ezekiel or Elder Donnie. I'm not sure which one he goes by now. Who else? You got Marcus, who was the head of security, who had left. You also have Freeman, who used to be the head of security before he stepped down and decided he wasn't going to do that anymore. And so if you call these people and ask them, you got the Bells too. That's another good one. Just call them and ask them their testimony of Dow and how he was and how he treated them and how it was at Straightway and the situations that they seen and the stuff that was going on. And it should be very clear to you who's telling the truth and who's not, especially when you have 8, 9, 10 witnesses all saying the same thing, but with different situations on how they've been used or abused or mistreated or lied on or slandered or gossiped about. I mean, the list goes on and on. It's actually disgusting to me to hear a lot of the stories about the stuff that's gone on at the ministry since I've left. Stuff that I would have never thought. Stuff that shouldn't even be named once among the heathens. In the word it says that there's going to be people who will promise you liberty, but they themselves are the servants of corruption. You look in, Timothy, where it talks about how a bishop should be, the qualifications of a bishop. And go through and read all those, and then look at your pastor and ask yourself, does he fit those things? Is he a brawler? Is he given quick to anger? Does he actually have patience, or is he extremely short with people? Has his patience grown thin and worn out? Is he greedy for filthy lucre? Does he actually give good hospitality to the saints? Does everybody who is around him, are they living the same type of lifestyle that he's able to live? These questions, really make fruit stand out. I've been doing a lot of research on cults like Jim Jones, Waco. I'd also call Scientology a cult. And you look at these leaders, you got David Miscavige of Scientology. You got Jim Jones. You got David Koresh over Waco. You got the Pope. Whoever you want to name. If you start looking at the behaviors and the characteristics of these men, it's like they're all similar in spirit. They all function exactly the same way. They're all totalitarian leaders with authoritarian control who pretty much control and own everything, and everybody who's beneath them needs to serve them like a slave master type relationship. You always hear Tao talk about, look at their fruit, judge a man by his fruit. Well, when we compare you to people who have had terrible fruit, who've caused atrocities and many deaths with these groups, and you show the same behaviors, the same characteristics, the same type of language, the same accusations that were coming out about them before they ended up getting shut down are the same ones that are coming out about Dowell. And so what are we supposed to believe? What are we supposed to think? You look at with Straightway, they talk about their land that they have and the homes and stuff that they've built, and they talk about how that's the fruit of their ministry. And I look at Waco. They built a little community for themselves, right? Look at the fruit that they had. You look at Jim Jones. They built a whole little community town down there, and I think it was South America. Look at that fruit. Look at the Church of Scientology. Look at how much stuff that they've built and that they own. You can't use that as the measuring stick of whether or not you're actually following the Most High or not, because the rain falls on the unjust just as much as it falls on the just. And I remember David saying, don't envy the oppressor. And why do these people who do wicked stuff, they just seem like they're being blessed, and they seem like they're getting ahead, and the Most High isn't doing anything about it. And then he was able to bless himself in his heart, just saying that, he's going to hang on to his integrity, because he knows at the end of the day that we're all going to be judged by the Most High for the things that we've done. And I think right now there's a lot of people, part of Straightway, who are seeing the judgment coming, who are feeling it hard pressed upon them. Just last night, there was a pastor who was making fun of me for my teeth, which I don't care. I thought it was pretty funny. I think he said that he had teeth that looked like he chewed on this metal water bottle over here. It was a funny joke. I laughed about it because it was true. I didn't take care of my teeth before I started following Jesus the way that I should have. And I reaped the consequences of that. And I'm very grateful for the people who helped me and gave me loans in order to be able to get my health back to where it needed to be. I'm extremely grateful for that. But just because you do a good deed doesn't mean that you're a good person. You can do a lot of good things to mask the fact that you're doing evil things. Satan hides and masks himself as an angel of light. He pretends that he's doing good. But then, just like narcissists do, if they do one good thing for you, they hold it over your head like you're supposed to be indebted to them for the rest of their life. With my situation, I received a loan in order to get my teeth fixed, which I paid back, and I'm grateful for it. But, people shouldn't try to disguise it as it was just this great blessing that just fell upon me, that, they just gave it to me, and it was this miracle thing that happened. And that's another thing that I see within Straightway is they'll tout these people who've gotten healed, the miracles, the signs, the wonders, which they do follow those who believe. I definitely believe that. I definitely believe in signs and wonders. The Most High does it. But I also believe that in the end times there's going to be a lot of false signs and wonders. So I'm not saying that what Dowell and Straightway is doing is false by any means. I do believe that people are genuinely getting healed and set free. And all praise to the Most High for that. But at the same time, there's going to be people who are being told, depart from me, you worker of iniquity, for I never knew you. But they're going to come back in response telling the Most High that didn't they do all these great works? Didn't they heal the sick? Didn't they cast out devils in your name? Okay, so just because you're doing those things doesn't guarantee that you're living a life that isn't full of iniquity. And it's really a staple on the person who got the healing in the first place, who got the deliverance. That's the person who has made it right with the Most High. The Most High has honored their faith and has forgiven them of their sins. And as a sign of that, we see them get healed. We see them get set free. We see them live in more abundance of peace. But it's their faith that is healing them. You know, with my wife, she got healed. She was anorexic. You know, she was 70 pounds at one time, you know, on her way to die, essentially. And the Most High healed her. And I can't discredit the fact that Kabir was involved, but that doesn't mean that he was so close to the Most High that the Most High used him in order to do this mighty work. It was Maya's faith that healed her. You know, just like Jesus says, your faith that has made you whole. She believed that the Most High was going to heal her. She didn't know how it was going to happen, but she believed that it was going to happen. And so anybody could have went in that room and cast out devils out of her and laid hands on her in the name of Jesus, and she would have been healed. The Most High just needed anybody, any form of conduit whatsoever at all, you know. But in Straightway, I think opposed to worrying about filing lawsuits about people who are just making satire videos, I think we should really be concerned with the stuff that's really pressing, you know. I asked the comment, I said, what's going to happen in Indiana in January? Is Rob going to take over or what's the situation there? You know, because we got leaders a part of that ministry who think it's okay to abuse their sons, and then when they're being questioned about it, to go and hide them up at Kabir's house for a period of time when they're being searched out. Government probably doesn't know about that. Case probably doesn't know about that. So it's out there now. You know, I was there, so I seen it with my own two eyes. Seen him. And so, yeah, I mean, you got other leaders who are forcing women to have sex with them. Otherwise, they're going to do X, Y, and Z. And then when they bring them into the home and they take away their phone and their money and their IDs and everything like that, pretty much making it so that way they can't leave the place that they're at. You know, this is the coercion and the manipulation that I've heard of over these years. You know, I look at the women of Straightway right now, and, you know, sometimes I wonder with the dress that I see some of them wear, especially the leaders' wives. I'm like, are we headed to the club? Or are we headed to go praise the Most High? I mean, you got some of these leaders' wives, whorish, bro. They're wearing dresses, skirts with no slips in them. The light shines through right. You can see stuff that's you're not supposed to be seeing. You know what I mean? And so that's why when people start saying, like, man, I think this woman's like, she's got whorish tendencies, I kind of maybe believe the whole adultery thing. The evidence is kind of stacking up here. And then you see the influence that it has onto these young daughters of Zion. These single women who are trying to get married, that they're in competition with the older women who are already married, who are afraid that their husband's going to get a second wife. So then they start dressing sluttier and sluttier in order to get their man's attention. You know, it's pretty obvious if you just pay attention to it. You just pay attention to it. My wife will never do that. My wife's always going to be wearing a head cover, dressing modestly, and being an example to the women of how you are supposed to be when it comes to being a woman underneath the covering of your husband and being the body of Christ. But some of these stories, man, whew, they're grieving. But I thank the Most High that I'm here. I thank the Most High for this day where I'm able just to chill out. I know it's the world's Christmas. I definitely do not follow that. I don't think that you should either. Go read Jeremiah. I think it's chapter 10. I'll tell you all about the Christmas tree and that. So, I mean, today's definitely a pagan holiday, and it's not one that I'm going to participate in. But you do you. Let the Most High convince you. Otherwise, if I'm wrong or if you're wrong, hopefully we can all come into the knowledge of the truth. You know, but I just want to say bless you to all of those who are watching my YouTube videos and who are supporting, who are sending out texts or giving me phone calls, words of encouragement, all that kind of stuff. It doesn't go unnoticed. I wish I could name everybody off by name who has helped and assisted me. But there's just too many of you. So I just bless you all. I thank you all. And the Most High continue to strengthen those who are striving to be holy. And shalom, shalom.